Welcome to the Yellow Ribbon Initiative, Kenya Reintegration Program. Our mission is to rebuild lives, restore dignity, and reduce reoffending. This video details our concept note for the launch event in Nairobi, Kenya in 2026.
The big idea centers on the yellow ribbon as a symbol of welcome, return, and second chances. Our launch is structured around three key actions: witness, commit, and act. This will mobilize funding, partnerships, and volunteers for inclusion. Our campaign has three pillars. First, A New Path Forward establishes the yellow ribbon as Kenya's visual language of hope. Second, Communities Choose Inclusion focuses on reintegration as a community act. Finally, Real Voices, Real Change puts ex-prisoners and families at the center of the narrative to inspire action.
Well, thank you very much. Welcome to this forum, gentlemen and ladies and my friends, my viewers and everybody who dares to listen or follow up on this channel that I've always been trying to bring out issues to do with integration of ex-offenders. So when people are out or when your families, the members of the society are incarcerated or taken into the society, into the prisons facility, you need to accept them back. And I've been very much strong in championing the aspects of how do we embrace people who have been in custody. Now, the problem that we have in the society is that whenever anybody talks about a prison, you think everything negative about prison. But there is something that people never answer. And I always throw in this question and nobody has ever answered. If prison is very bad, really, then we don't need to have any identity. Can somebody tell me where Satan came from? Or where did the sin originate? Let's be very sincere about that now. Because I know Christians will start messing up and complaining about or arguing about, oh no, evil was there. But where is it? The Bible says that sin was found. It was found, and who placed it there? He was in the holiest of the temples and he was the holy anointed cherub. But sin was found in there. So everything bad has been associated with the devil. But the question I'm asking now is I'm not trying to justify the devil or Lucifer, whatever it is. They have their own history with whoever deity you can have in mind, or God for that matter. But why do we attribute everything bad to the prison? First of all, what is a prison facility? And that's what I want us to talk about. Why are people taken to prison? If we are able to answer those questions, because nobody ever walks to prison and comes back. Nobody ever decides, let me go to prison. And even those officers who are there, they are there to work. They are not prisoners. So they are not in prison. They are there to facilitate the activities to make the people who have been subjected into incarceration for their better good. So why is it that prison has been taken to be a very bad place, and yet it is part of the society? I want to demystify in this video or in this clip, to demystify the mindset or the understanding of prison facility in the minds of people. It is first of all important for you to know that prison is a place where people have been set apart for realignment. We always take people to hospital because they are sick. Their body system, which has malfunctioned, is aligned. Now, those who are taken to prison are those people who have to be aligned with the law. They have broken the law in one way or another and they have been arrested. Simply meaning that even in the society, even you who is watching me, there is one way or another you have had a conflict with the law, but you have not been arrested. So anybody who is in conflict with the law in one way or another is simply, as the society takes it, a criminal. So you are one of the criminals and I have been a criminal. So as long as you are out of the prisons and you have not been subjected into the prison facility, you have not been realigned to the law. And one very clear reason is that as long as you don't have knowledge, basic knowledge of law, then you are a candidate of being imprisoned. So a prison facility is not a place of bad people. It's a place of people who can get there by being taken there because they cannot walk alone for one reason or another, and because of law. It's not because of sickness, but because they have broken some kind of law. Now, having been in that facility personally, I know there is so much negativity that people can talk about prison. You have been to jail, and people don't want to be associated with that. There is one time that people were talking about one political leader that in his home place he has not built institutions, he has not built schools, he's not built even a church. The only thing he's known about is building a prison. And people were laughing at him that he would like his people to be imprisoned so that he can remain alone with women in the community. Wow. That's an idea, or that's a suggestion or a mind of somebody else thinking. But here I want to clearly bring about the importance of being in custody, that anybody who finds himself in prison must be able to observe those lines and understand that when he gets out of it, then he must be able to adhere to those teachings and practices that are there. Of course, like a community, you cannot miss bad habits therein. Whenever somebody takes you to prison, there is always an understanding or the mindset that this one has gone to eat beans. They even don't know that there are cabbages, there are skumas, some was eat kundes. There is ugali there is rice. Now, should also tell you that in prison there is beef. So don't have that mindset that whenever people go to prison, they're only going to eat beans. And by the way, food in prison is well taken care of, that it is monitored and certified by a doctor, a health practitioner, and ensures that even the kitchen itself is neat and the people who are working in the kitchen are very clean and have are health certified by the health officials. So, in fact, I remember when there was an outbreak of, let's say, corona, for example, the prisons were not affected. But people outside here were dying in a big way, in a large scale. Anybody who dies that time was corona. Anybody who goes corona. But did we hear how much do we get from prisons? It's a very well protected area. Let's look at it another way. We have had explosions all over the place. There was a time a police station was blown off by somebody who got in with an explosive. But you cannot get into a prison facility with an explosion, with an explosive. That's a highly protected area. So whenever somebody is taken to prison, first of all, he is highly protected. And that is why a prison vehicle can run through the traffic jam or through the traffic lights. The presidential escort team has to go through the traffic lights, and the ambulance. The highly protected people with several guns. I remember when I was taken from one station to another, I was accompanied by 7 uniformed, armed people, officers, highly protected personnel. You are a highly protected person. Your health is taken care of, and you don't pay a shilling, not even a dime. Anytime you feel sick, you are taken to hospital. So that confirms to you that prison facility, first of all, is a highly secured place. Health-wise, you are highly protected, and whatever you need there is given free. When you get to prison, the basic necessities are well taken care of. You will never sleep hungry, and you will never sleep outside. And there is plenty of water and security. Up to there, first of all, we are beginning the nitty-gritties. Up to there, we are good to go. Now, what is the benefit of being in prison? A few days ago, I was talking to somebody and he gave me a name and failed. And let me put it this way: he called me a name which I didn't like, and I found myself keeping quiet until I was like, am I really the same person that was there before this incarceration thing? When somebody calls you a very bad name, for example, he has called you a dog or a warthog or a prostitute or whatever it is, you feel badly offended, seriously offended. But you fail to understand that it is his perception of you. It's just like telling me you are a fool. Wewe ni mjinga. But do you know that it is his perception or his vision of you in his mind? Because scientifically, light travels through your eye and is translated in the mind, and there is some inversion. The objects are inverted and now changed so that you remain vertical in the brain. I will not give you the scientific description about it. So it is the brain that interprets what the eye has seen, the vision it has seen. So if your eyes are seeing me as an image of a dog, then I am not the problem. The problem is you. If you call me a fool, then surely I may be a fool in your industry, because if you are a doctor and I am an advocate, then I am a fool when it comes to your profession. But you are also a fool when it comes to my profession. So in one way or another, we are all fools and wise at the same time. I hope we are together up to there. So what am I talking about here? It established the aspect of patience and resilience, so that whatever insult you come up with, I will always be able to handle it and understand and capture it and respond very amicably. Which means I have learned the art of being patient, because in prison you don't fight with anybody. An officer can insult you with the worst kind of name, which I may not mention in this video. But at the end of the day, since you cannot fight it, your tempers have to be subdued. You calm down. And if you are able to control your tempers, for the number of years you will be in custody, and those who have been in prison can attest this with me. When you come out of custody and somebody tries to call you those names, insults and all kind of stuff, the best thing you do is to walk away, or to smile and keep quiet and have mind your own business. That is what prison has taught many of us. In prison, time is key. I know many a times when you go, for example, to go to work, you go to town, you find people working in the office, and it is actually very common. You find people in the office watching videos online instead of doing the assignment they were given. A customer comes or a client comes, wants a service in the government, and you pretend to be very busy, and you are on WhatsApp or you are on TikTok, you are watching YouTube, watching stuff, and a service is needed. You are supposed to be in custody. In prison, time is of essence. You are supposed to be in one location in that time, and when that time reaches, you observe time and go to where you are needed. What I'm saying is, you are at the right place at the right time. And when the institution, the authority say it is time to sleep, you just have to sleep, because you are locked in by 4 or 5 thereabout. And when it comes to taking census, head count time, you've got to be there, and there is an order of positioning. You have to queue in order, you have to be counted in files, you have to squat as the rule is it requires you to do, and then you obey the orders of your fellow inmate or your fellow remandee. In every house, every room, there is a leader, and you must be able to obey those leaders. So in one thing or another, in spite the fact that you've got to be obedient to time or observant of time, you've got to obey the leaders. And I'm telling you this, you might be a graduate, or you might have been a politician, the highest, because the only person you cannot find in prison is the president or the former president. Because I remember I was there with the former, I think, head of government in Rwanda then, and we reasoned out together. So in prison, anybody, even the magistrate who has brought you in there, can be in prison. Now, while there, you should be under an authority. And sometimes, those who have authority in the house where you dwell in was a chokora, a street urchin. So what do? You are more learned than him. You are you had a higher government office than him. And so in this video, there are things I want to really put across. I may not highlight everything, but I want to show you the importance so that you may have in mind what exactly we are doing in the society that we don't know. First of all, you've noticed that time is of essence. This time you keep wasting here going, oh, let me visit a friend, let me do this. When anybody who has come from custody has no business going to start stories, rumor mongering with other people. No. Mind your own business, you do your things, you are in the house. Order. Obedience is installed in you by force. And that's what I was saying. You can be a most learned person, the degree, a doctor, a professor. But while in custody in the house where you stay in, there is somebody who is in charge of that house and he may be a former street urchin. So order has to be followed. The other thing that I want to tell you is that prison incapacitates, not the incapacitation from the perspective that we understand it. Incapacitation means it subjects you into a condition where you are controlled. You are putting you into control because if you have gone overboard by breaking laws and breaking, you have no order. So the prisons puts you in order or subjects you into some system where it is rules. For example, you cannot go beyond the door without an authority or without permission. There are about 5 doors to go to a particular place. For example, from your house to documentation, from your house to the church, from your house to legal department. Every gate has a person to manage it, and you must give reasons. If the officer decides you are not going there, please, you have no moral authority to start arguing with him. Just go back to your house and settle. Why? It's not because he doesn't like you. Don't personalize issues. When you had freedom, you misused it. So you have been brought to a place where you can realize that the world requires order. Remember, God did not give us absolute freedom. He gave us freedom with rules and regulations to follow. So when you break the rules, that is where the authorities come in to subject you into order. So in prison, it instills order into you so that when you come out, you know what order is, what obedience is, and what observance of time management is. For example, the best steward is the steward of time. If you cannot be able to manage time, you cannot manage money. A period of reflection is another. When you get to custody, many of us, when we got there, you were so frustrated. You felt everybody is against you. You are an enemy of the society. What do people see me to be? What have I done? That is the main problem that goes in the minds of many people while in custody, or the moment you get into prison facility. It's actually a rehabilitation center. I don't know, whoever came out with that name prison really messed it up. But if we come with the word correction, rehabilitation, and training center, correction, rehabilitation, and training center is the best name for it, so that you are corrected, rehabilitated, and trained for a better cause. Okay? So when you get to custody, when you get to prison, the first thing that hits your mind is you reflect upon yourself. You are sleeping, for example, on the floor. You have been subjected to confinement. Who am I? So this is the time you start recollecting of who you are. Sometimes people would say, "Oh, I cannot live without my wife. I cannot live without my girlfriend." As people say, you are like tea without sugar. I mean, there's so many of those languages that we used to do. But when you are in custody, your girlfriend will not come. Your boyfriend doesn't come. Your family will not come. So you can do without them. What the authorities try to show you is that there are things you can do without. And you will still survive and you will live. And so don't make things luxurious stuff that it is mandatory. Don't lie to yourself that you cannot stay without a girlfriend. You cannot stay without your boyfriend. You cannot stay without sexual activity. You cannot stay without, you can even stay without taking sugar. Clear. You are used to choice food, but because you misuse that priority or that privilege, freedom, choice food, you can decide today to eat nyama choma, you can decide to eat. But in prison, it's a daily menu that is stripped out. That on Monday it is beans, Monday porridge in the morning. Maybe you don't, when you hear at home you are taking porridge, you can even beat people up and start insulting people. When you get there, be ready to take porridge in the morning. Be ready to take cabbage or whatever greens as in the lunchtime, or beans depending on the schedule of the prison authorities. You have no moral authority to ask for what you want unless you are sick. But when you are sick, you can also not ask what you want, what you desire. No. Prison has its own menu to serve everybody. In prison, everybody is equal. If you are here and you are a governor and an authority, when you are in prison, even a street urchin can become a governor for you. So, having known this, that is a time to reflect upon your past, present, and where you are heading to, is a time to change, to transition yourself. In many occasions, people who have really lost hope, if you go there and get good counseling, get good advice, visit people, talk to them, understand why you are in, what caused you to be in prison, you are likely to change. The mind of a person is created in a manner that is able to receive and create. So it creates first, not the outside world, it creates yourself. So you must be able to change from within before you change the world. So many of us, maybe you may not have forgiven yourself or forgiven the society. They took you in there for a reason, not because they wanted you to be there. No, even them can be there. Because I remember, for example, one time, a gentleman was taken to prison by uh, somebody who complained about him stealing his radio or stealing his electronic. He took the matter to court and he was incarcerated. He did not finish a week. The complainant who took this guy in prison was also ill. So when they went visiting, because visitors came visiting this other one, he found his friend who brought him in custody also visiting the friends from the society, from the community. So look, why are you here? Oh, I was brought here. So now, what happens in this state? Anybody can be brought to custody, including you. So this is the time to reflect upon your past, present, and the future, and how you can transition to change for the better tomorrow. And anytime you find an officer calling you names, reject those names. Like, for example, they used to call me an obtainer. I told them, no, that is not my identity. If you cannot call me my name, then you have to explain to authorities where you got that name from. And then it will never sink in you that you are a murderer or a thief or a robber. No. Some cases, some mistakes you committed without knowing. I remember I met people who were just sent, take this substance from me and take it somewhere else. And it was discovered it was narcotics and it was it. So there are people there who never committed any offense. But there are those, of course, who committed very serious offenses. That one we cannot rule out. So you've got to learn to transition from one situation to another, from one state to another, and anybody can be in prison. Not that everybody who is outside here is good. There are also bad people out there. So I have always maintained that not actually everybody, nobody is an original the way you were born. We have been tuned by the society and the lack of resources. The way people are fighting for resources, others don't sleep, they go to work day and night, you're busy sleeping, and now you want to rob somebody else. We've got to learn to work out on how to earn a living, and that is what prison teaches you, to live within your means, and that is why you have no choice of food. You cannot call for beer, you cannot call for a soda, you must accept what is there. And sometimes they give you food without salt. What do? It's an authority and you cannot die. You've got to live with it. You maybe have been sleeping on a 6 or 10-inch mattress, or a hard one, or a high density mattress. Well, be prepared to sleep either on the floor or on just a simple 3-inch mattress, and it's for the few. But at the end of the day, it's a basic necessity. In prison, there are training facilities, and especially technical training. Many of us who are out here cannot afford fees, they cannot afford training, you even don't know what to go for to do, or what item or what part technical training you need to do. But when you are in prison, you are allocated. It's a free training service. You are allocated a teacher, an officer who teaches you on how to do carpentry, you can do masonry, you can do tailoring, you can do any kind of activity that can generate income. And that is where you offer free service, because you fail to manage your money out here because of your luxurious life, and you start interfering with people's lives, and that is why you broke the law. Now you are taken in there where you can offer a free service. You learn new lessons on how to manage yourself and do a technical training for the better tomorrow. So you gain skills. So when you get in custody, do not just sit and start crying, I've been taken as a worst person. This, no, it's time for you to reflect, do a technical training, so that when you come out, you are coming out as a better person. And the government, I'm very happy, is working out in a way that you can come out with a university certificate, a college certificate, accredited college certificate, a TVET certificate, so that when you come out into the society, you can assimilate well with the community and build yourself, build the society, and you become somebody. So that people do not see your imprisonment, but they see the best thing that has come out of prison. For example, currently, I am an active person in paralegalism in the society, teaching mediation in churches, training people on how to obey laws, on how to be observant, how to care for one another, human rights activists, how to protect one another. I am training people on that, and it's not because I wanted to, but it's because of a product from the prison's facility. In fact, many people, if I don't tell them where I've been, they will never know that I have been in custody. But I am a product of custody. Remember, the Bible says, and I'll give you a verse, that which came from the eater's mouth has become honey. That which was supposed to destroy you has made you to become better. Prison, many people take it as a place of destruction. But let me tell you, it has made people who have become better people than even those who are in the society. But I remember when I was there, some people could call me there asking me for fare. And because of the business I used to do there, I lent them fare. And that is what happens. You've got to understand that something good can come out of prison. And that thing is only you, your mind. You have to change and accept the circumstances that are there now. On its finality, for the purpose of this lesson, I may not have given a complete analysis of what the beauty of the prison itself. Pride, selfishness. Let me tell you, if there is something that destroys people, it's pride. If there is something that destroys people, it's selfishness. Can you imagine if you're earning, let me say, about 100,000 shillings, 200, some people are earning 1,000,000 shillings, and they have a family of, let me say, 4 wife and 3 children. They are 5. And still, they go and corrupt the systems and steal money for themselves. And even when they steal, they don't help their community, they don't help their people, their extended family. How can you steal billions of money and still deny other people rights? They don't benefit from that. How much do you need to satisfy yourself? When people are living with hardly hand and mouth and they still make it in life, you who is grabbing billions of money for yourself, you are simply a wicked man. But when you are in custody, you are able to understand to live within your means. And that one, when you have no money, you don't go crying into the community. Oh, please, you start borrowing all over. No, you can drink water and sleep. You can take a few things that you have, sleep. Make a few posho and water, mix them hot water. You take porridge, you sleep. And that's how life is. Prison trains you to live without it. And that is why early morning in prison you are given porridge. At least something that can sustain you for the day. Not for your stomach to become big now, but for the day. Pride is cut down. And that's why I told you that even a street urchin or somebody who never went to school can be an authority over you, who is a doctor, a professor in custody. I hope we are together up to there. So discipline is high tech. Discipline is high tech. Responsibility is high tech. Nobody washes clothes for you. And I've been saying this. Men who say that my wife, if it does not wash clothes, I will chase her away or beat her or do anything else. Let me tell you, I can wash my clothes. If my wife decides she doesn't want to wash, my friend, I wash my clothes. I can wash the utensils. I can make my food. I don't want to argue with anybody because of what I've gone through. I don't want to argue with anybody. If you don't want to wash my clothes, I have my hands, I will wash. If you don't want to cook for me, I have my hands, I will cook. Let peace reign, because I don't want to waste my time again in the place where men go. Prison is for everybody. Not only for criminals, it's for everybody. So there is something good that can come out of prison. To close up this, to sum up this episode, Judges chapter 14 verse 14 says, out of the eater, depending on the version you're using, out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet. That which you thought is destructive in prison has made people who are better in the society and can change to transform governments and authorities. I've always been quoting the man Jehoiakim in the Bible in the book of uh, Jeremiah chapter 54, verses 31 to 34. He's talking about King Jehoiakim who had been in custody or in prison for 37 years. And the Bible says the king, Evil-Merodach from Babylon, lifted his head, talked to him well, counseling. Lifted his head means gave him hope, then did a counseling for him and got him out of prison. And then from there, he prepared the society for him and good celebration were done for him. And this is our prayer and this is our desire in the Yellow Ribbon Initiative Forum through Flair Africa Institution or organization. We are building up a system where people can be reintegrated into the society after being rehabilitated so that the society accepts them. So that which you thought was bad, something good has been made out of them. And it is our prayer that once they come out of the society, you embrace them, because it is an understanding now that you need to know that people who have been there have been made to become better people in the society. And I will stand out alone with every other person who is ready to support for this mission. This one is for the betterment of the society. Out of that which was destructive, something good has come out. When Peter was in prison, according to the Bible, the people outside were praying for him to be out. How much are you prepared to receive Peter from prison? How much are you prepared for you to receive your brother, your uncle, your auntie, your friend from prison? Remember, when you knocked the door, one person ran to receive Peter. Are you ready to receive Peter into the community? Peter is you. Peter is your friend. And I want to use this analogy also to clear up. When Jehoiakim was brought out of prison, the Bible says they removed his prison clothing. Remember, he is in the society and they remove his prison clothing. When Jesus resurrected Lazarus, he told the people, remove the stone. And they removed the stone. Then, when he had done his job of resurrecting Lazarus, he still instructed the people to remove his grave clothes. Brethren, you took somebody to prison. Remove that stone out of prison. Forgive them, because that's the stone that is lying in our hearts. Once they are out of prison, remove the clothes in the mind, the invisible bars that are blocking them. And also those bars are blocking you. Remove the prison clothing from them. When Jesus touched somebody's eyes, the first touch opened the eyes and the person said, I can also see people like trees. The second touch changed his perception of things completely, and so he saw people as people. It is my prayer that this film and this video and this organization will change your eyes so that you can see the ex-convict not as criminals, but as people who can bring something sweet out of that which was destructive. Shalom and God bless you, and we shall continue bringing you films that will be able to change the perception, the mindset of you in the society. Receive them, they are our brothers, they are our sisters, and let's work with them for the better tomorrow. And when you see them anything wrong, do not attribute anything negative to them, but let them know that there is a better tomorrow. And in fact, the ex-convicts are best teachers to teach you on how to live in life. When there is trouble, run away from trouble that you may live well. Blessings. God bless you.
Welcome to the Yellow Ribbon Initiative, Kenya Reintegration Program. Our mission is to rebuild lives, restore dignity, and reduce reoffending. This video details our concept note for the launch event in Nairobi, Kenya, in 2026.
The big idea centers on the yellow ribbon as a symbol of welcome, return, and second chances. Our launch is structured around 3 key actions: witness, commit, and act. This will mobilize funding, partnerships, and volunteers for inclusion. Our campaign has 3 pillars. First, A New Path Forward establishes the yellow ribbon as Kenya's visual language of hope. Second, Communities Choose Inclusion focuses on reintegration as a community act. Finally, Real Voices, Real Change puts ex-prisoners and families at the center of the narrative to inspire action.